All right, so one more time. Yeah, I'm back again. I'm gonna be here for a while on this platform until they're done with it. But yeah, so the Gentiles are not Israelites. That's one of the biggest lies that the Hebrew Israelites tell us. And all of y'all that think I'm just hating on my own people, that's ridiculous. Anyway, this is not, I repeat, this is not anything personal. Y'all getting y'all feelings and start crying in my comment section and getting all emotional. It's nothing personal. It's just y'all doctrine, what y'all teaching is trash. It's just trash. And you ain't got to worry about if I preach the gospel. Yeah, I do. That's not what I'm on TikTok for, though. I already made it plain what I'm doing. So if y'all don't understand, if y'all got a problem with it, just block me. Because y'all can't prove me wrong. I mean, it's like you can't show me that I'm wrong according to the Bible. So you get mad and start throwing little personal attacks. All right, that's fine. I'm a man. I can handle it. I'm a man. I can handle when somebody says something that I don't like. I don't have to get emotional and start crying and complaining in somebody's comment section. I don't have to do that because the Bible is right and y'all wrong. But anyway, I'm live once again. And please, emotional Hebrew Israelites, just scroll past my live. I would like to talk to the men, especially all y'all in my comment section. All of y'all. All right, so one more time. Yeah, I'm back again. I'm gonna be here for a while on this platform until they're done with it. But yeah, so the Gentiles are not Israelites. That's one of the biggest lies that the Hebrew Israelites tell us. Listen up. If y'all know what's good for y'all ever run into any of these trying to teach you the Bible, run. Like your life depends on it. Because it just might. They don't believe the Bible. Just gonna continue to prove y'all, just gonna continue to prove to y'all that they don't believe the Bible. It's okay. That's what I'm here for. Tearing down the strongholds. These groups up here got a lot of our brothers and sisters in. According to the Bible, these people are wrong. Yeah, but we live. I'm live right now. Gonna be talking about this for quite a while on tonight. I got time. I mean, y'all keep making me do it. If y'all would stop lying on the Bible, I wouldn't have to. But I'm live. So, because my last video that I posted has a lot of Hebrew Israelites upset and in their feelings, clearly, because they don't believe the Bible. Really don't know it, but because they are complaining and whining and calling me names in my comment section, I'm going live again today a little earlier than planned. You guys making me do it, you keep giving me the ammunition too. None of y'all believe the Bible, It's sad that y'all claim to be the people of the book and don't believe the book. For another grown man to tell another grown man, go say something to this person, go debate this person. While you're in my comments making a lot of comments, it's very telling. You can't defend what you believe, so you want me to go to somebody else you think can handle me. But I'm live right now. Let's holler. Come talk.
This guy's a scoffer, man. All his content is nothing but against the ministry. All right, so before I start this video, I just want to share one more video and then we'll get started. There's so much I can do a lesson on, but this lesson is going to be about the first video that I showed. Was this right here. But he has a lot of stuff that he's against the ministry with.
Yes, you do, because I'm about to break it. So you're saying the northern kingdom fell so that the northern kingdom could have salvation. The northern kingdom, when they fell away, the southern kingdom is the house of Judah, correct? You're not going. I'm not running away from this at all. I'm going to stay straight to it. I'm going to go right back into it, because even when you go to Daniel 9:11, you realize that Israel refused to obey these laws and suffer the curses. The whole thing about this, even how can you say that? Are you saying that I'm saying that these nations? Are you saying? Hold on, wait, brother, because I find this all the time. Are you saying that Israel? Are you saying that other nation? When I'm saying salvation is for the Israelites, what is your term for salvation? Because I think listen. Now you moving the goalposts. No, I'm actually, because your understanding of what salvation. Because if I take you to Isaiah, you will know where these nations are going to be. Swirling right now, though. I'm not. I'm trying to explain to you, get you to think of your point or what you just stated. I'm not. I don't have a point. I don't have a point. Okay, so
this is why the elders, Salakia, I'm gonna get to it in a minute, but this is why the elders say, don't do debates with these Christians, because you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna get anywhere, man. But this is the main.
All right, so one more time. Yeah, I'm back again.
So this is what I'm really gonna do the lesson on. So before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Yahweh Kakodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, meaning coming in the name, Ba means coming in, Ha means the, Shah means name, Rakah meaning spirit, Kodash meaning holy. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, double honors to the elders and the apostles and bishops at Great Millstone who will well and teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom to you, sincere brothers that are scattered abroad, pushing forth this word of truth and sincerity. And shalom to you, sincere sisters that's listening to silence as the scriptures command you to do so. I am the brother Mashiach Harazakah, and pretty much as you've seen in the video, Salakia, I made it a long thing, but I wanted brothers to see. The individual name is Dwayne Preach the Word, if you want to look at his TikTok page, and he's pretty much against the ministry. He's against the 100% truth. He believes that we're speaking lies when it comes to teaching this Bible, this word. He made a lot of comments. He said that we don't believe in the Bible when we're teaching 100% truth. But you see, our people, they have learned the ways of this society so long, and they believe what Esau say is right, instead of literally taking the time out to receive the understanding. Now, he said in this video right here, Gentiles are not Israelites. That's a big lie. But look, I just went on Google. Buddy. And I put in, is Romans 1:16 referring to the ancient Israelites? And this is what Google said. It said, yes. When Romans 1:16 says to the Jew first, it is referring to the ancient Israelites, signifying that the gospel message was first presented to the Israelite people before being spread onto the Gentiles. Now it says non-Jew there, which is incorrect. Okay, that's incorrect there, which we know that the proper understanding that the Gentile there, all right, the Gentile that's mentioned here, okay, is referring to the Israelite foreigners, which I'm going to prove. Because when you go into, actually, I'll just go right here. Forget it. I'll just go in the blue letter. I was trying to save it. But when you go into Acts 6:1, this is Acts 6:1, and it says, in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of Grecians against the Hebrews, right? It says, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. Now, when you go into the Greek word of Grecian there, right, it goes into the word Hellenist, which is, I think it's G1675 or G1674, right? Get it. G1675, right? Which is Hellenistes. That's the Greek word for the meaning of Grecian. It goes into Hellenistes. Now, when you go into the English translation of Hellenistes, it's Hellenist, right? And it says, one who imitates the manners and customs or the worship of the Greeks, right? and use the Greek tongue. It says used in the New Testaments of Jews born in foreign lands speaking Greek. And it says Strong's definition, Hellenistes, from a derivative of G1672, a Hellenist or Greek-speaking Jew. So when you go to Romans 1 and 16, that's referring to the Israelites there. That's referring to the Israelites there. Okay? That's referring to the Israelites. You see that? It says, we believe that the gospel being to the Jew first signifies Israel's covenantal status as first among equals. It says, loaded within Paul's phrasing in Romans 1 and 16, it is an affirmation of the Most High's eternal ongoing love for the Israelite people and his desire for his firstborn to know his son. You see that? So this is referring to the Israelites. When it says salvation to the Jew first and also to the Gentile, that's referring to Israelites and Israelite foreigners. When you go to Romans 11, right, which I'm going to get right here, Romans 11, the 11th chapter, because you guys like to read that too, right? I put the same thing in. Is Romans 11 referring to the ancient Israelites? Romans chapter 11. Yes, Romans 11, the term Israel primarily refers to the ancient Israelites. It says Romans concludes Paul's discussion about the Most High's plan for the Israelites begun in Romans 9 and 10. Because Romans 9 talks about the Israelites, right? And Romans 10 talks about the Israelites. And Romans 11 talks about the Israelites. Romans 1 talks about the Israelites. Because Apostle Paul was an Israelite when you read in Romans 11 and 1. He was of the tribe of Benjamin. So when he written those epistles, those letters were to the Israelites that was in the churches of Rome. Okay, that's who that was referring to there. You see that? And this is why, going back into the video, I seen that Jake going back and forth with him. It's a waste of time doing it. But we're doing this video for edification's sake for our people. Now, our people, majority of them hate themselves. They believe in the philosophies of the 501c3 charter of the religion of Esau Edom. They believe that that's the truth, and it's not. That's why the scripture says this. It says, Hosea 4 and 6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because they don't understand the scriptures. That man don't understand the scriptures. He's a natural man. He can't receive it, the word of the Lord, because the Lord is not dealing with him. When you're a person like that and you coming up against the ministry, you coming up against this 100% truth, you coming up against the prophets because the Lord set those men up and you disagree with the doctrine, the Lord ain't dealing with you. It says, reject knowledge, I will also reject thee. That it says that thou shalt be no priest in me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. And you see that? Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. They don't understand that. You see that? But this dude right here, in his video, his TikTok video, Gentiles are not Israelites. How? Because it ain't talking about the other nations. Because check this out. This is how we know that the Gentiles in the New Testament is not talking about natural heathens. Because look at this. 2nd Esdras 6 and 54. We know that those Gentiles in the New Testament are talking about Israelites. Because listen to this. This is 2nd Esdras 6 and 54. And after this, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, right? Of him come we all. We all come from Adam. We all come from Adam, right? But guess what? The Lord segregated the sons of Adam. When you go into Deuteronomy 32 and you read through verse 8 through verse 9, the Lord segregated the sons of Adam because the sons of Adam were wicked. The Lord segregated the nations and he set the bond according to the number of the children of Israel, starting with Father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel because we descend from Jacob, who is Israel. We're the descendants of his 12 sons, which are the Israelites. That's why we're called Israelites, right? And if that individual there disagree that salvation is only for Israel, did not the Lord made a covenant with Jacob? He did. He made a covenant with Jacob, right? And his 12 sons, right? Because they're the seed line of Jacob, which is Father Abraham and Isaac. The Lord made a covenant with Father Abraham and with Isaac and with his seed after him. So what are you talking about there? You're misconstrued. 2nd Esdras 6 and 54, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all. We all come from Adam. But guess what? The Lord segregated the nations and he set the bonds according to the number of the children of Israel. That's why we're considered his firstborn, right? Because we're the chosen seed of the Lord. Okay? It says, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Talking about Israel, man. Right? It says, verse 55, and this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. Verse 56. Now listen to this. This is how we know that the Gentiles in the New Testament is not talking about natural heathens. Because listen to this. The Gentiles in the New Testament, that's referring to Israelites. Listen to this. 2nd Esdras 6 and 56. As for the other people, the other nations. Okay, you have the Lord created 18 nations, but he's dealing with one specific nation out of the 18, right? Which is the Israelites. So you got the rest of the 17 heathen nations that the Lord is not dealing with. It says, as for the other people, the 17 heathen nations, starting from Esau on down, right? Let me get that. Starting from Esau on down, right? This is what happens when you get misconstrued with the scriptures. The Lord ain't dealing with that, man. That's why he don't have the understanding of the scriptures. He don't have the understanding of this word. When you go into the table of nations, number 2 on down to 18 are unchosen nation. Those are the natural Gentiles, which is not of Israelite descent. You have 2 types of Gentiles. You have Israelite foreigners, Israelites that had a Gentile state of mind. They were Hellenized when you go to the Greek Empire. When you go into the Greek Empire under the Seleucid Empire, right? The Seleucid rule, going to Antiochus the first, the second, the third, the fourth Epiphanes, the Israelites were Hellenized. So they went from having Israelite names to taking on Greek names. They went from speaking Hebrew to speaking Greek. They went from taking on Israelite names to taking on Greek and Roman names. Okay, so you had Israelites, they were Hellenized. You see that? So when you go into the table of nations and you look at verse number 2 all the way down to 18, these are unchosen nations here. This is what the scriptures are speaking about in 2nd Esdras 6 and 56. So this is how we know that when you read in the New Testament and it talks about those Gentiles there, that's talking about Israelite foreigners. Israelites of the flesh with a Gentile state of mind. All right. 2nd Esdras 6 and 56. As for the other people, the 17 heathen nations, which also come of Adam, because they do come of Adam. But guess what? The Lord not dealing with them. Same thing with Father Abraham. Father Abraham had many nations and many sons. But the Lord's not dealing with all of the sons of Adam. He's not dealing, all of the sons of Father Abraham. All right? Or the sons of Adam. Because the sons of Adam were wicked. And the sons of Father Abraham, the Lord didn't make a covenant with. He didn't make a covenant with Ishmael. Now, he made a covenant with Isaac, but he didn't make a covenant with Ishmael. Now, he blessed Ishmael, but he never made a covenant with Ishmael. Ishmael is an unchosen nation. Lord's not dealing with them, right? It says, as for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing. These 17 heathen nations up here, number 2 all the way down to 18, the Lord said they're nothing. They're nothing. Nothing, right? But be like unto spittle. Spit. Every single person of the earth spits loogies out every day or every other day. There's somebody spitting a loogie out. That loogie that they just spit out of their goddamn mouth, are they going to pick that back up and put it back in their mouth? Hell no. So it's the same thing with this scripture here. The scriptures say that the nations, that the heathen nations are spittle. The Lord is not dealing with you. Why would the Lord come back and save a nation that he never made a covenant with? That don't make no sense. The Lord is going to come back and save a nation that he never made a covenant with. And to top it off, you heathen nations, y'all not in mourn. Y'all not in mourn. Salvation means deliverance of harm, deliverance from something. You guys are not in harm. Who's afflicted and who's in harm every day? The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. That's who's in harm, affliction, and torment. The Lord's going to deliver us from this place. We're going to be delivered from harm. You heathen nations are not in harm. You guys are not in harm, man. You guys are not in harm. You guys are not in servitude to nobody. Right? It says, thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle. You guys are spit, nothing. And it says, and has liked the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So the scriptures say you guys are nothing. So this is how we clearly know when we read in the New Testament and it talks about the Gentiles receiving salvation. That's talking about Israelite foreigners. And we proved that because we went to Acts 6 and 1. We got out the word for that word Grecian there. Right? Now, when you go to Acts 9 and 29, listen to this. Acts 9 and 29, it says, and he spake boldly in the name of the Lord Yahushua and disputed against the Grecians, but they went about to slay him. Talking about Stephen, right? Because Stephen was put to death. And guess who put him to death? The Israelites, right? It says what's happening in this verse. Stephen, a deacon and apologist, debating with the Hellenistic Jews in Jerusalem. Hellenistic Jews, they were Israelites with a Gentile state of mind, right? It says the Jews are opposed to Stephen because he preaches the resurrection of the dead, right? It says the Jews also seem to be offended by Stephen's apparent disrespect for their religion, right? It says the Jews are unable to refute Stephen's arguments, right? The Jews accused Stephen of blasphemy and murdered him. So Stephen was put to death. You see that? But those were those Hellenistic Jews, those were the Hellenized Israelites. Those were those Israelites that had a Gentile state of mind. You see that? Those were those Israelites that had a Gentile state of mind. Those Israelites, they were in the ways of the heathen. They were in the ways of the Greeks, right? They were Hellenized there. Got proof for it. Anybody can look this up. This is Hellenistic Judaism, which we know as Hellenistic Israelites, right? The term Hellenistic Israelite is a conventional one long used to a misnomer according to many contemporary scholars. Traditionally, Hellenistic Israelites was a designation for Israelites in the Greek-speaking world, included those Jews, those Israelites, who spoke Greek and adapted to some extent a Greek, look at that, a Greek, you see that there? A Greek way of life. So they were cast out as a heathen. They were cast out as a Gentile. They were cast out as a Greek because they adapted the ways of the Greeks. They were speaking Greek, dressing Greek. They were in the ways of Greeks. They were Israelites of the flesh, but they were in a Gentile state of mind. So that's why when you read in the New Testament, where it says to the Jew first and also to the Greek, or to the Jew first and also to the Gentiles, those Gentiles and that Greek there is referring to the Israelites that have a Gentile and Greek mindset. That's who that's talking about, Israelite foreigners. You see that? They had a Greek way of life, right? It says it has been argued, however, that all Israelites after the conquest of Alexander, right, was Hellenistic Israelites, right? Because the Israelites were Hellenized during the Greek Empire. See, he don't know that because he never went into Daniel 7. You see, these wacky-tacky Christians, they never went into Daniel 7. So they don't understand about the Gentiles in the New Testament being Israelites. They don't understand that. They just used to a pastor telling them and lying to them, saying that those are natural heathens there that's been grafted in. No. Those Gentiles in the New Testament are Israelite foreigners, Israelites that's been Hellenized. When you go into Daniel 7, you can go to Daniel 7, you can go to Daniel 2, because Daniel 2 links up with Daniel 7 and with Daniel 8. And also Daniel 2 and Daniel 7 also links up with Revelation 13, 17, and 18. Yes, it links up with that. It links up with that. And also links up with Revelation 20. All of those all link up. So when you go into Daniel 7, you'll have a proper understanding. Like, okay, the Israelites, they were Hellenized because Alexander the Greek came in. And when he came in, right, they Hellenized the Israelites. You had the four generals of Alexander Greek. You had Ptolemy, Cassador, Seleucus, and Lysimachus. During the Seleucus rule, which is the Seleucid rule, under Antiochus, you had Antiochus the first, the second, the third, and the fourth Epiphanes. The one that Hellenized the Israelites the most out of all of the Antiochus is Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes, right? Which I'm going to get out. And he Hellenized the Israelites, right? They couldn't keep their Sabbaths. They couldn't keep their ceremonial traditions. They couldn't keep anything. They couldn't keep any of their Hebrewic ceremonial traditions. If they were caught doing that, they were executed and put to death. They couldn't circumcise their children. They couldn't keep the Sabbaths. They couldn't keep any of their high holy days. They couldn't keep any of their Hebrewic ceremonial traditions. If the Israelites was caught doing that, they were executed and literally put to death. You can read that in 2 Maccabees. I think it's 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter. You can read that. It says, however, that all the Israelites after the conquest of Alexander was what? Hellenistic Israelites, right? was what? It says the Hellenistic period begins with the conquest of Alexander. Yep, I was right. So it was the Hellenistic Israelites. So like a Hellenistic period begins with the conquest of Alexander, but when did it end? In one sense, it continued under the Romans, right? And it continued under the Romans. You had you had the emperors. You had Julius Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Nero, and you had Titus. These are different emperors that ruled during the Roman Empire, all right? And it says even encompass the Byzantine Empire, right? The Byzantine Empire. When you look up the Byzantine Empire, man, that's during the Roman Empire, right? And it says ending only in the Islamic conquest. It says for practical purposes, however, it says the biblicology given here, right, covers primarily the period from Alexander the Greek to the Roman conquest under Pompey, right? You had Pompey, you had Vespasian, if I'm saying his name right, right? It says Syria 335 to 65 BCE, before Common Era. It says a period of almost 3 centuries, right? And it continues on and on and on. But that's the main point. So those Gentiles that's mentioned in the New Testament is talking about Israelite foreigners. That's not talking about natural heathen. Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes, right? It says 215 BC, November, December, 164 BC, was king of the Seleucid Empire from 175 BC until his death in 164 BC. So he ruled from 175 BC until his death in 164 BC. Notable events during Antiochus' reign include his near conquest of Ptolemaic Egypt, his persecution of the Israelites, says Jews of Judea and Samaria, right? The Israelites, the persecution. They couldn't keep any of their Hebrew ceremonial traditions. If they were caught doing that, they were executed and put to death. You see that? And it says, and the rebellion of the Jewish Maccabees. You see that? So there you go. You see that? It goes all the way down about Antiochus, right? It talks about the son of King Antiochus III, because you had Antiochus III. You had the Antiochus the first, the second, the third, and you had the fourth Epiphanes. All right, so it goes on to this, man. All right, and I'm going to get that out because I talked about it. Let's get out that first Maccabees because we're gonna shut that down. We're going to prove that the Gentiles in the New Testament are Israelites. That's who the Gentiles is in the New Testament. It's talking about the Israelite foreigners. They were Hellenized. We already got the secular history to prove it. Now we're going to go into the scriptures. This is 2 Maccabees, right? Chapter 6. Salakia. 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, right? And we're going to get to the main point. I want to get straight to the main point. We'll start at verse 1. It says, not long after this, the king set an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of the Most High. Verse 2, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem. You see that? And to call it the temple of Jupiter, it says Olympius, and that in Garizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. Verse 3, the coming of his mischief was sore and grievous to the people. We're going to get to the main point. Verse 4, for it says, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles who delayed with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that brought in things that were not lawful. Verse 5, it says the altar was also filled with profane things which the law forbidded, right? Verse 6, it says neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or the ancient feasts or to profess himself to all that be an Israelite. So they couldn't keep any of their ceremonial traditions. You had the Greeks that was ruling the temple. So they took over everything. So the Israelites, they couldn't keep their Sabbaths. They couldn't circumcise their children. They couldn't keep any of their Sabbaths, their holy ceremonial traditions. If they were caught doing that, they were put to death. This is to prove it right here. And it says, and in the day of king's birth, every month they were brought to bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in possess to Bacchus, it says, carry ivory. Verse 8, moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities, to the heathen, by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Israelites, that they should observe the same fashion and be partakers of their sacrifices. So instead of being in their Hebrewic traditions, they had the Greeks make them do their traditions and not their own Hebrewic traditions. So the Israelites couldn't keep their Hebrewic traditions. They had to follow their traditions. They had to abide by their traditions instead of their own Hebrewic ceremonial traditions, right? Verse 9, it says, and whoso would not conform themselves to the matters of the Gentiles, this is natural heathens right here, the natural Gentiles, should be put to death. So if the Israelites was caught circumcising their children, if they were caught keeping the Sabbaths, if they were doing anything of their Hebrewic ceremonial traditions, if they were caught by the Greeks doing that, they were executed and literally put to death. So the Israelites, they became Hellenized at this point, because they were no longer keeping their Hebrewic traditions. They couldn't keep the laws. They couldn't keep the Sabbaths. They couldn't keep anything of their Hebrewic traditions. If they were caught doing that, the Greeks will have them automatically put to death. This is during the Seleucid Empire. It says, then might a man have seen the present misery. Verse 10, it says, for there were 2 women brought who circumcised their children. So these are Israelite women that had their children circumcised. Listen to this. It says, whom when they had openly led around about the city, the babes handling their breasts, they cast them down, it says, headlong from the wall. And it says, and others that had run together into the caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly. So these Israelite women, they were secretly keeping the Sabbath. They were secretly keeping the Hebrewic traditions and keeping the Sabbaths, but they were doing it secretly. They knew if they were seen doing that, they would be executed and put to death. But check this out. Philip, right? Philip is a Greek he's a Greek commander, and he's gonna catch these women doing that. Look. It says, being discovered by Philip, it says, were all burnt together because they made a concerns to help themselves for the honor of the Most High sacred day. So due to those women keeping that Sabbath day and circumcising their children, they were put to death. Philip, who was a Greek, a natural heathen, had those Israelite women and those children burnt alive, put to death. It says, we're all burnt together. He had them put to death for that. So now we understand that the Gentiles that's mentioned in the New Testament were Israelites. That's who that's talking about. Right? Let's get out 1 Corinthians. This is to shut it down right here, man. 1 Corinthians 12:1. This is to shut this down right here. This is to prove that the Israelites that's mentioned in the Gentiles that's mentioned in the New Testament, the Gentiles that's mentioned in the New Testament were Israelites. Check this out. This is 1 Corinthians 12:1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, this is Apostle Paul speaking when he was in the city of Corinth. He written the epistles to the Israelites that were of the churches of the city of Corinth. So that's what these epistles is to. 1 Corinthians 12:1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Verse 2, listen to this. Ye know, this is talking about the Israelites, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away onto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. So there you go. Those Gentiles that's mentioned in the New Testament, those are Israelite foreigners. That's who that's talking about there. You had natural. Now you have 2 types of Gentiles. Don't get me wrong. You got 2 types of Gentiles. You got Israelite foreigners, that's Israelites of the flesh with a Gentile state of mind. And you have natural Gentiles, which is not of Israelite descent. You see that? So when you go into the New Testament and it talks about salvation to the Jews first and also to the Greek, that's talking about Israelite foreigners. That's talking about Israelites and Israelite foreigners. That's who that's talking about. Let's get out one more precept. This is Matthew chapter 10. Because this is to sum it up as well. Bear with me. Now listen to this. Because you might have some people, this is how we know they don't read the scriptures. Now listen to this. This is Matthew 10:1. It says, and when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of diseases. You see that? The Lord Yahweh Shai, he's going to set up his 12 apostles, which is his 12 disciples, right? Now, the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first was Simon, whose surname is Peter, and Andrew, his brother, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother. Verse 3, Philip. Now, this Philip is an Israelite. It's not the Philip that's in 2 Maccabees. That's a different Philip. All right. Philip, Bartholomew, it says Bartholomew, Thomas, and Matthew, the publican, James, the son of Alphaeus and Lebanus, whose surname was Thaddeus, right? Verse 4, Simon the Canaanite and Judas the Iscariot, it says, who also betrayed him. It says, these 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles. Now, right here in verse 5, this Gentile here is talking about non-Israelite descent. This right here, the Gentile here is talking about natural heathens. All right. These people, these Gentiles here is not of Israelite descent. So this is why the scriptures say these 12 sent forth, it says, and command them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. So why would, this is the Lord speaking. He told his 12 apostles not to go into Samaria. Samaria is in Israel, but you had a mixture of Israelites and heathens in Samaria. So that's why the Lord told his apostles not to go to Samaria, because you had heathens dwelling in Samaria, right? You had heathens that was dwelling in Samaria. Now you had Israelites there, but you had a lot of heathens in the city of Samaria. Okay. So that's why the Lord said, he said, go not into the way of the Gentiles. So don't go to the natural Gentiles. So this is how we know that when it says there, the Gentiles there, we know that it's talking about Israelite foreigners. Those Gentiles that's receiving that salvation there, to the Jew first and also to the Greek, those are Israelites and Israelite foreigners. When it says to the Jew first and also to the Gentiles, or Romans 1:16, Romans 11, the 11th chapter, that's all referring to the Israelites and Israelite foreigners. All right. Verse 6, it says, but go rather. See, he said, go not into the way of the Gentiles and into any city of Samaritans, enter ye not. So he told them don't go to the Gentiles. Right? He said, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It says, go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So right there, that's talking about who? The Israelite foreigners. The Israelites with a Gentile state of mind. Because you got two types of Gentiles. You got Israelite foreigners, Israelites of the flesh that had a Gentile state of mind that was cast out and called a Gentile. And then you had Gentiles, natural Gentiles, that was not of Israelite descent. But this right here, the Lord sent his 12 apostles to the Israelite foreigners that were scattered, because we were scattered abroad. It says, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So when you go into the New Testament, and it talks about to the Jew first and also to the Greek, the Gentiles that's mentioned in the New Testament, that's talking about receiving salvation, that's talking about they have the faith of prayer, right? It talks about them being put into jealousy. That's talking about Israelite foreigners. Those Gentiles there is Israelite foreigners. That's who that's talking about. That's not talking about natural heathens. They can't repent. Repentance is only for the Israelites. They don't have salvation. Salvation is only for the Israelites. It's not for heathen nations. And we proved it. We went to the secular history. We got the definition and the meaning of the words in the Greek. It says it right here on Google. Yes. Romans 1:16 says to the Jew first, it is referring to the ancient Israelites. You see that? So to this dude right here that says Gentiles are not Israelites, that's a big lie. He's lying. Because we just proved it out of the scriptures. What do we got to lie to you guys for? It's out of the scriptures, literally. And we went into the secular history. So why do we got to lie for? We're telling you the truth. Now it's up to you to either accept it or not. If you don't accept it, that's on you. But we're telling you, we're giving you the tools to this ministry, to the truth. This dude here don't know what the fuck he talking about, man. He don't know. He don't know.
Please.
This man, he don't. Salakia. This man, he don't know what he talking about. This man, he don't know what he talking about, man. He literally don't know what he talking about, man. He don't know what he talking about. And I want to go back to that, man. Go back to that video. All right? He got so many videos up here.
All right.
This man don't know what he talking about. He said to the Jew, it says the Jews are not Israelites. That's a big lie. I just proved out of the secular history. I got out the dates. I got out scriptures. I got out every single detail to prove that the Gentiles of the New Testament are Israelites. So he doesn't know what he's talking about.
So one more time. Yeah, I'm back again. I'm going to be here for a while on this platform until they're done with it. But yeah, so the Gentiles are not Israelites. That's one of the biggest lies that the Hebrew Israelites tell us.
I just proved you wrong. Where's your scriptures? Now that I proved in this video that they are Israelites, we went to secular history. We got scriptures to back this up. I can even go into Romans. I was going to think about going to Revelation 7 and 9. But actually, man, I'll just get that, man. For edification purposes, man. All right. Revelation 7 and 9. It says, "And this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb," who is Yahweh Shai, "clothed with white robes and palms in their hands." So we literally, this here, right? People read this here and literally believe that this is talking about all nations, all people here being saved. Nope. This is talking about Israelites here. All right. Now, when you go into the meaning of that word kindred there, right? Because you got people that use that say this is talking about all nations, all people. Nope. Because when we go to kindreds there, G5443, listen what it says. It goes into
Strong's G5443. Fule.
So that word kindred there, it goes into the Greek word G5443, which is pule, right? It says a tribe. In the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch of Jacob, a nation of people. So this is referring to the Israelites. The Gentiles mentioned in the New Testament, Israelites. Proved it, man. Proved it. So this guy, be aware of this dude. He's a bug out. He don't know the scriptures. You trying to debunk something that you can't freaking debunk. All right. These guys, these agents and people are beginning to pop out everywhere. This dude popped out on my TikTok feed. This individual right here is a fucking bug out, man. All right. So, hey, watch out for this dude. This dude does not have the truth. This dude is a liar. He's deceiving people. Don't believe this man. Okay. And with that, I ended with that. Shalom.